Greetings, fellow YouTubers. This is Lucas Frazier, and since I haven't made a video in a while, I figured, hey, why not talk about a movie that not very many people talk about, as well as a movie that I really do not like. And that is the 1989 Christmas movie, Prancer. Why do I not like this movie? Well, I made this video for a reason. And also, I'm talking about a Christmas movie when it's close to summer. Go figure. Anyway, one of the big things that I really do not like about this movie is the main character, Jessica. She puts Christmas and everything she likes over everything else. Everything, including her family. She treats everyone around her like garbage throughout pretty much the entire movie. She says at one point that she wants to run away, and even at one point says that she wished her dad was dead rather than her mother. She is very annoying and frustrating to watch throughout all of this movie. There's two scenes that I want to bring up to sort of give a more detail as to why I really don't like her as a character. One is a scene where she gets upset about her friend not believing in God or heaven or anything like that, and she does. So she says that they are no longer friends. So, you're telling me that the main character is this rude and this selfish that she is willing to end a friendship just like that, all because she has different beliefs from her friend. I realize that they're kids, and I realize that movies aren't real life. But like I said, this is the main character. The main character. If the main character is this rude and this unlikable that they are willing to do stuff like that, then I'm obviously not going to want to like them. There's one other scene I want to bring up. Well, a series of scenes. They're basically these scenes where Jessica is at church with her family and friends, and everyone is singing these Christmas songs, and she sings way louder than everyone else. So loud and so obnoxiously that it attracts the attention of everyone that they look back at her. First of all, what is the point of these scenes? Second of all, is the purpose of the scenes is it like a subtle way of saying that Jessica is much more vocal than everyone else around her? Because that's sure what it feels like throughout this movie. And if that's the case, then these scenes do nothing but make me like her less, because all that comes out of her singing loudly is everyone getting annoyed by her. And they all look incredibly annoyed by her, which is exactly how I feel towards her. Another thing that kind of bugs me about this movie is that there's a few subplots here and there that don't really affect the main plot in any sort of way. First, I want to talk about a little one that isn't really all that important. It's these two scenes where Jessica's brother and a couple of his friends are like making fun of a reindeer that Jessica caught, that they're being ambiguous about whether or not it's Prancer or not. I'll get to that in a little bit. But they make fun of him, and the first scene has more of a purpose, because Jessica's brother takes her money that she needs to be able to buy Prancer food. That has somewhat of a purpose. But the second scene doesn't have any purpose. Jessica's brother and his friends just come in, make fun of him, and then Jessica shoos them out. What was the purpose of that scene? It accomplishes nothing and only shows us what we already know from the last scene they made fun of Prancer. The second and bigger one is, there's this subplot where Jessica is sledding and she accidentally crashes into an old lady's backyard and breaks some of her stuff. And when Jessica's brother takes some of her money away from her that she needs to get to buy food for Prancer, she decides to go back to the old lady's house and fix some of her house up to get money. And after a while, she starts finding decorations that she used to have to decorate her house. And she eventually convinces the old lady to start having fun decorating her house, and they bond and eventually supposedly become friends. Now, what is the point of this subplot? Like, yeah, Jessica does get the money she needs to be able to help Prancer get food, but, like, how does the character, the old lady, get affected in the rest of the movie? She doesn't show up in pretty much the rest of the movie, not even at the very end where a bunch of adults come to try to help make Jessica feel better. And it's not like them decorating her house showed the old lady the true spirit of Christmas. It just showed her how it's fun to decorate a house. I'm pretty sure that's not what it's like to learn the true spirit of Christmas. Another thing that I don't like about this movie that I'm kind of on and off on is the acting. Now, I do like the acting that comes from the adults. They actually fit their roles well and do a good job. But I cannot stand the acting from the kids. They over-enunciate everything. They everything they say. Come on, we need to do this. I hate when children talk like that. It just sounds dramatic. It's just so annoying. It's just one of the most annoying things I've ever heard in my life, and I'm not even joking. Or maybe I am sort of exaggerating for comedy, but that's besides the point. The acting really just makes a lot of the characters, mainly Jessica and her brother, even worse than they already are. They're already annoying enough as it is, but the acting is just that little extra cherry on the top. Oh, and speaking of Jessica being really annoying, along with her friend, there's one scene where she's in the church, and she stares off at her friend very angrily. And her friend is just looking at Jessica, confused, wondering why she's mad at her. And then the mother of her friend slaps her, as if her friend is the one doing something wrong. Thanks, movie. I really needed that extra insult to injury. The biggest thing about this movie, though, that I really do not like, that is pretty much a problem from all the other problems that I stated, well, mostly, is that it really doesn't feel like a Christmas movie. It just feels like a sad, depressing, and frustrating movie with Christmas elements. It really doesn't try to be cheerful or try to help kids learn something new about Christmas. And speaking of that, let's talk about Prancer for a second. So, the main plot of this movie is about how Jessica finds a reindeer that is hurt and she tries to take care of it. And they keep having all these little moments of ambiguity where they try to make it seem like, they try to make the audience question whether or not this reindeer is just a regular reindeer or actually Prancer like Jessica thought. And then the people who made this movie decided to just throw that all away by showing Prancer flying up into the sky with Santa and his other reindeer. How low of a stupidity level can these writers reach? I was so angry when I saw that because I thought the writing was actually kind of smart in one spot. But nope, it wasn't. Like I said about this movie being really frustrating and depressing, it's not just Jessica and her brother that act really bad in this movie. A lot of other characters as well, like the old lady, even though she gets better, still acts kind of sad and upset. Jessica's dad always acts really bad to her and confused on how to take care of her. Now, they do try to sort of explain why they have a poor relationship, with Jessica having a tea party with a picture of her mom, and I guess that's their way of saying that Jessica's mom is dead. But, like, that's not enough of a reason for me to believe that Jessica and her father have a poor relationship. That's just showing me that Jessica is upset that her mother died. Like, even if one of your parents were to die, you would still be able to have a good relationship with the other. They don't really explain why they have such a poor relationship very well. There's a lot of confusing stuff in the story like that that just makes it really sad on top of how all the characters just treat each other very poorly for the most part. One more thing about Jessica. Remember how I mentioned that there were a lot of adults that came to try to cheer her up? Yeah. She did not deserve any of that. All she did throughout the entire movie was act like a spoiled brat. This is pretty much just going to teach kids that if you whine and complain about not getting what you want, you'll eventually get what you want. That's not how real life works. Now, I'll give the people who made this movie the benefit of the doubt and say that they weren't intending to do something like this. But I can definitely guarantee some kids believing that they could just act poorly to get what they want based on what they see from this movie. I mean, I can't fully guarantee that. I don't know how most little kids would be able to think, but I can definitely imagine that happening. The only thing that I genuinely like about this movie is its presentation. I actually did not know that this movie was made in the late 80s at first. I actually thought that it was made in like the early to mid 90s. And the sets look really good and believable. They actually sometimes use real landscapes to make things look even more believable. I mean, yeah, the music is kind of generic and forgettable, and sometimes there are like these little black spots that pop up every now and then to show that the film itself has aged. But really, that's the only things I don't like about the presentation. But, man, overall, I just really did not like this movie. It was so sad and frustrating to watch throughout the entire thing, and I would probably even go as far as to say that this is the worst Christmas movie that I've ever seen. Yes, I've seen Elf Bowling. At least in movies like Elf Bowling, they at least try to have some sort of charm, and at least try to have the theme of Christmas be some sort of focus. But in this movie, that's really not the case. This movie focuses more on just unpleasant characters than actually trying to, like, have a sort of Christmassy theme. And even when they do try to have a Christmassy theme, it doesn't feel fully realized, as I've explained. And this is the only Christmas movie that I've ever seen that actually gets me out of the spirit of Christmas rather than into it. And that is something I cannot say about any other Christmas movie that I've ever seen. I beg of you not to watch this movie at all. Even if you are very curious about it, do not watch it. It is not worth your time. It definitely was not worth my time. Well, thank you very much for watching. I apologize if I was too negative, but I really just wanted to talk about how I did not like this movie. I hope I was at least somewhat informative and entertaining. Thank you very much for watching. This is Lucas Frazier, signing off.